Hi YouTube and welcome back to Let's Play Diablo 3. So this week I am doing the chapter titled Reign of the Black King, and this is where I am now going back to the cathedral with information from Uncle Deckard and going after the Skeleton King, formerly known as King Leoric. Last week we went and sought out King Leoric's crown. And the only way to face and defeat the Skeleton King, because right now he's just kind of like a ghost wandering around the cathedral, but you can't interact with him, and therefore you can't basically kick his butt. And so we needed to find the crown in order to reanimate his bones, which is what we'll do when we find him. And then we'll take him out, and that will allow us to get through to where we need to go in the cathedral to figure out what the heck the fallen star actually is. So that's our ultimate goal, is to go after the fallen star. Alright, so right now just kind of going after some somewhat elite mobs there, and going through the cathedral. So we've got to go through a couple of levels of the cathedral. We're in cathedral level 2 right now, and we have to go through to cathedral level 3, which eventually gets us to the royal crypts or something like that. I think it's called the royal crypts, and that's where the Skeleton King is. So we've got a bit of exploring to do to find our way to the next level, and this is one of the reasons why some of these chapters are so long, is because they make you go through and hunt through several levels of things. I'm hoping that some of the future chapters don't get to be extremely long. I mean, last week was fairly long, over 30 minutes. And this week, obviously, I tried to make sure that I kept it shorter and ran through it as quickly as I could. And then I just, I edited out bits and pieces. I'm editing out things like my checking out my loot and that kind of stuff. I am taking that stuff out now. I am keeping some of the lore in if I pay attention to it, but if I don't, then I apologize. And if you have questions about the lore, ask me below.
And now I wander, cursed by my once beloved king. Evil gnaws at my bones, and I cannot risk putting my beloved Tristram in danger, should I fail to contain that which tears at me. I must venture down into the labyrinth, to die alone.
Alright, so speaking of lore, we got to learn a little bit more about Kleineganz. There's not a lot of lore in this particular episode. I think there's 2 or 3 more bits and things, but other than that, you get to hear my lovely voice for the rest of the episode, other than, a few bits and pieces here and there. There's a lot of lore that I am not playing. If there's, like I said, if there's a book that pops up, I will read those and get to work on those. But there's a lot of lore that no longer auto-plays. You have to click on a little flashing link on the bottom right in order to get it to play. And I'm usually too busy playing to pay any attention to that. So, if you really want to, learn some of the lore of this stuff, I mean, a lot of it is, I think, probably in wikis online, you can read about it. And, or you could just get the game and play yourself. There's no subscription for the game, by the way. I'm not trying to sell anyone on the game. I'm not being sponsored by Blizzard or anything like that. But if you think this is fun and if you haven't played it yet, get it yourself. I've had a couple of people who yelled at me for talking over lore for World of Warcraft, and I'm like, if you really want to know the lore, why aren't you playing it? Anywho, so yeah, we're still here on level 2. This level takes the longest to get through, and I actually end up not exploring the whole thing, because I end up finding the link, the entrance to the next level before I explore everything. Well, which is okay. I guess, I don't need to necessarily explore everything completely. Yep, there we go. Here's the access to level 3. So here we go. I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything here. Oh yes, and this is where things get a little bit interesting. So you can see there's a ritual going on, and sort of poor chap in the middle there that we're helping out, and the dialogue isn't really that interesting or that important. He's just like, yes, I'm free. Thank you for freeing me. Why are you here? I'm after the Skeleton King. Well, so am I. Okay, and then there's this little bit of dialogue as well, which you can read. So, don't like reading? Tough cookies. All right, so we meet him, and all we know about him for right now is he's a warrior. Okay, fine, he's a warrior. Here I'm just trying to make sure I explore every bit of this thing, but sometimes there's some interesting stuff along this level, so I just wanted to make sure. Sometimes there's some elites in this room and stuff, but apparently not this time. So, oh, so gold. Oh, there we go. There's the elite. I knew that they're usually hiding somewhere in one of these rooms. So, Zool the Immortal. Zool the Murderer. He's not that immortal if I can kill him, though. Ghostly Murderers, that's what I was saying, because I was switching between targets there. Okay, that's why I was mixing them up. Alright, more gold. I like how rich you get in this game, especially now that they got rid of the auction houses and they've improved a lot of the drops and everything. It's like you can get really rich really quickly in this game. I mean, not at this level necessarily, but with my my high level character, who's a demon hunter. She's at level 68 now, and so she's getting some really nice loot. So yes, he is not just a warrior; he's a Templar. He's of the Templar order. And he's now following us, and basically he's saying that in order to get to the Skeleton King, we have to go through this other guy named Jundar that he's after, and he's offering to help us get us past Jundar. It's like, all right. It's interesting with World of Warcraft. They've actually got in Mists of Pandaria one of the rare elites that you can go after in the game on Pandaria is actually named Jundar, and the whole little sequence that goes with it mimics some of the things that the Templar says and things. So it's kind of amusing that there's a Blizzard likes to do little crossovers and things. Like you can have a little mini Diablo pet that you can have running around after you in the game and stuff. And actually you can use them as a battle pet now that they've got the whole battle pet thing, which I haven't gotten into as much. I thought I would, get into it more than I did, but I don't know. I've just not enjoyed it as much as I thought I might. So, but then again, I've never really been much of a Pokemon, because it's very much like a Pokemon thing from my understanding, and I've never really been into the whole Pokemon thing. So, but you can be a Pokemon master in World of Warcraft now. Of course, they're not actual Pokemon; they're just little battle pets, but similar concept in my opinion. Alright, so here's where the Templar comes in handy. He's the only one who can break the spikes down, so you kind of need him. And here is Jundar. He's a former Templar who got corrupted by the cult that's living in this part of the hero. And so we're trying to defeat him. And our Templar really does not like that Jundar left the order or betrayed the order and stuff, and so he makes the final killing blow there, because it can never be forgiven. And now the Templar is kind of saying, hey, you wanna quest together? We both have an objective of going after the Skeleton King. Only thing is, if there's any tomes of my order, I need them. So it's like, oh, and then you get a choice here. You can actually choose not to have him come with you. And we actually say, you know, like, we don't care about your tomes, so you can have them. Alright, so now that we've got a friend to help us out, and this is actually nice, so you end up with 3 different companions that you can quest with. He's the first one that you meet. There's 2 others later on that we'll meet. And you can actually help, they level up with you, as well as you can help them increase their abilities and things. And there's a few things that you can actually choose in terms of they can help heal you, or they can aggro enemies away from you. That kind of thing. At least that's some of the skills he has. There's other skills that the others have as well. I personally like the Templar. He's my favorite. But we'll meet the other ones later, and you can kind of just get a feel for, because they kind of join you for a short time, kind of like he does here. And then later on, you get to choose if you want them to continue to follow you or not. And help you out in things. And especially if you're soloing, I think it's really, really useful to have one of these guys along. Because it's just, you know, that much more firepower, so to speak, in order to go after the baddies and stuff. On normal level, it's less necessary. They're definitely not as needed. You can solo the entire game, I think, on normal level without any assistance whatsoever. But when you get to the higher levels, I think it's definitely helpful. Okay, so we're level 10, and we just unlocked some of the passive abilities. And there's 2 of them here. We have Heavenly Strength and we have Fervor. And ultimately, I end up, you can read what they do for you here just by pausing and reading them. But I ultimately ended up deciding to go with Heavenly Strength. You know, you can never have enough strength if you're a melee DPS, in my opinion. Alright, so I made that decision. Now let's move on. Because we're still looking for... So we're on Cathedral level 4 now. So yeah, so we started level 2, went to level 3 where we found him. And then after defeating John Dar, we made it to level 4, and now we're looking for the Royal Crypts. Once we find the Royal Crypts, we can take out that pesky old Skeleton King. Keep on keeping on. And I like these where you can knock things down from ceilings or walls or anything, and it can crush the enemies. And those kind of tricks become very critical in terms of survivability later on in the game when you're using the higher level difficulties. Again, normal level, you know, you don't have to use any tricks. It's all very easy to get through. But once you get to the higher levels, not the higher levels, the higher difficulties, I should say. Alright, so we've got a couple of baddies down here. Oh, and there's another Book of Lore, which I will be looking at in just a moment. I'll get rid of these guys first. Yeah, Maleficent the Skull Crusher. They came out first. Alright, let's get rid of the rest of these guys, and then we can go read the book. All about the Crusaders.
These indicate that a high-level cleric of the Zakarum named Akan began to sense the corruption that was eating away at the heart of his faith. He knew this corruption would eventually destroy his beloved church, and that he must take action. After much prayer, Akan hit upon the idea of an order of crusaders.
Alright, so that's just a little bit more lore about the Crusaders, which is the newest class here in the game. And what my character is, this is Valeria. She is a Crusader, and definitely liking the class so far. I really loved the Demon Hunter, and she is still my favorite so far, but I'm really enjoying the Crusader. I have played a little bit with most of the other classes so far. I've made a Barbarian, I've made a, I think it's Warlock, Barbarian, Priest, and the kind of the voodoo witch doctor. I think it's witch doctor. Don't like the more squishy characters, the ones that are kind of ranged magic type characters. They die really easily, and I'm not very good at keeping away from enemies in order to cause damage and avoid damage to myself at the same time. I've never really been good at that kind of gameplay. I've tried, I really have. I have definitely tried, but I am much better with the melee DPS classes that can take damage, and can take heavy damage up close. So, and looks like we finally found the World Crypts. Yay! Alrighty, so now we can go and see if we can't go after that pesky Skeleton King and get rid of him so we can figure out what the heck that fallen star is. So, making sure we don't have any more surprises there. Alright, so now we go through this gate. Ah, Leorc's sword. Alright, so that basically was the sequence of what happened when Locthwannen confronted Leoric and basically killed him. So we can see what happened to him just before he was, or just as he was being, I don't know if you want to call it murdered, because he was being such a troublemaker at the time, and he was, you know, obviously corrupted by the influence of Diablo and things like that, and went completely insane because of his efforts to not become a slave to Diablo, so to speak. And this is all going back to history from Diablo 1. Alright, so we've got these activated pillars, and in this sequence you have to get rid of the pillars first, because they keep generating new mobs. And so if you just focus on the mobs and you don't get rid of the pillars, you end up just with this endless stream of enemies. Which will eventually overwhelm you if you're not careful. So maybe not at normal level, but definitely at the higher difficulty levels. All right, so now we've got all through there. I'm trying to just kind of keep my focus here and not get distracted by potential loot areas. You can't go across, unfortunately, because there's too much damage in this part of the cathedral, so we have to kind of go around. Kind of convenient that these going around places exist. Kind of a silly architectural design, but hey, it works. Alright. And we have a bridge. It's, you know, it's interesting we have these bridges and these things. I mean, we're supposedly like several levels down below into the cathedral and stuff.
I do not understand how.
Alright, so we go in here just in case there's any kind of good stuff before we get into the fight with the Skeleton King. Sometimes there's pillars with buffs and things like that that you can use in here, but it doesn't look like there is one this time around. It's random one way or the other. Oh, and there's another Scholar's Lectern. Take a look at that.
We have just arrived in Tristram, and I must say, I'm a bit dismayed. This place is a backwater filled with serfs and an ancient broken-down monastery, hardly fit for the King of Condorus. I cannot fathom why Lazarus was so intent on this becoming our new seat of power.
So those are some thoughts from Leoric when they first came to Tristram before he went completely insane. And it was his trusted advisor who advised him to come to Tristram in the first place, and that's because he was already in the service of Diablo. Alright, so here we had a little cutscene with the Skeleton King basically saying that he will never be defeated. Ha! We'll see about that, dude. We will see about that. Yeah, we have to take these guys out before the door unlocks. There we go. And we just have to go place the crown on his remains up here on his throne. Interesting that they just kind of, they didn't bury him. They left his remains just sitting there right on his throne. Okay, fine. Alright, so now he's kind of reassembling himself and coming to life, so to speak. Living skeleton kind of a thing. So now this is sort of like the big boss fight of this chapter, and we need to take him out. So this is what we've been working towards right now in this act, is to take him out. And what's going on with that fallen star that happened to crash right into the heart of the cathedral. Bad King of Tristram. This fight, with normal difficulty, as you can see, is fairly straightforward. It's not very difficult. Helps to have the Templar with you. But I remember doing it at the second or third. It was like starting with the third level of difficulty, and they've really changed the whole thing. There's like 5 levels now of difficulty, and there was only 4 before. And so there's a lot of the gameplay that's changed since I first played the game when it first came out. But at the third level, I think, of difficulty, this guy started getting hard to kill. And by the time you got to the highest level of difficulty, prior to the expansion, I remember my husband and I would do it together, and we kept wiping quite a bit. We kept dying and having to come back, and dying and having to come back, and eventually we got through it. Alright, so now we have access to the Desolate Chamber. And we finally get to the crater with the Fallen Star. It's like it's taken us three chapters to get down here. Or 4 chapters, I think. Well, whatever. Several chapters. And guess what? The Fallen Star is a person. Like, okay. And he seems like a rather frail person, too. Well, if you've fallen and crashed through many layers and levels of an old cathedral, he probably looked very feeble as well, if you're even still alive. Well, the fact that he survived his fall is pretty impressive. And yes, I'm talking over their discussion, but again, they have the text there, so please read. Pause and read if you need to. Okay, so we're going back to Tristram to turn the quest in and to inform Uncle Deckard of what the Fallen Star actually is. Oh yes, and we get this lovely little cutscene as well.
The Fallen Star was a man. Only a man. I begin to wonder if his fall is related to my crusade. I will take him to the old scholar. He may know.
Alright, so as I said, we need to go talk to Uncle Deckard, basically, and tell him what we found. Turn the quest in, and basically pick up what's next. So, yep, here. It's like, who could survive that? It's all pretty interesting at this point. I was like, when I got to this point in the storyline, I was like, whoa, really? That's cool. And I really wanted to know more, like, who is he, what is he, etc. I thought it was really interesting. So anyway, I'm going to be wrapping this up real quick now, and if you are still watching, I really appreciate people who watch all the way through my videos. Thank you so much. And any questions or comments or anything, please leave in the comments below. Please, if you are enjoying these videos, please like them. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, and please share. I would love to get more viewers to these videos, so if you share them, I'm hoping that your friends would enjoy these as well. But basically, until next week, I wish you all to take care and have a good week. And until next week, take care. Bye bye.
I don't need a sword for that, but I will search their fields.